I'm really happy that I started this Beyblade Burst journey, getting to watch a series that is similar to the shows I grew up on as a kid, and for it to be good at the same time is a great feeling. In this video, I'll be reviewing the first 20 episodes of Beyblade Burst God, and so far it has been interesting. I'm enjoying the season, but there are a lot of dumb things that have happened in Beyblade Burst God that just had me questioning why, but I'll get more into that later. Before I talk about the plot, I'll just spend some time talking about some general things. This season is truly when Beyblade Burst says screw all the realism and goes full on fantasy. In this season, I am witnessing some of the most ridiculous launching styles and abilities from the series. The layers and drivers on Bays have some really cool gimmicks, and this season is also the introduction to Beyblade Burst's first ever dual rotation Bay in Legend Spriggan, so that is pretty exciting. Now, Beyblade Burst God follows VALT's journey at BC Seoul, a team previously known for being one of the best in the world. I like the change of environment with this season. Moving to Spain has allowed for the world building of Beyblade Burst to improve. In this world, Beyblade is a worldwide sport where teams can draft bladers from other countries, so I'm assuming BC Seoul is paying for all of VALT's transportation to Spain, otherwise everyone must be as rich as Wakia. The first episode serves as an introduction to some of the new supporting cast while giving Valkyrie a much needed upgrade because power creep. Afterwards, VALT enters the training grounds of BC Seoul. I like that there is a top and secondary team for BC Seoul, meaning that you have to work your way up to earn the right to represent the team. This is also where we meet my favorite new character in this series, Free de la Hoya, the #1 blader in the world, the nonchalant king whose Bay drained Fafnir is basically the Medio El Drago of this verse. Free even pulls a Ryuga and hand spins Fafnir into the stadium, using the rubber on Fafnir's layer to spin equalize against opposing right spin Bays. After Free's introduction, Wakia returns, setting up a practice match of his team Real Sunbat against BC Seoul. Having most of the matches in this season be team-based was a smart decision by the writers, as it allows most characters to get a chance for some screen time, plus you get to see a lot of different matchups that allow for these battles to be interesting. But the most important thing about this practice match is that my boy Kiyama gets a dub against Wakia. Even later on in this season, Kiyama beats Cisco. At one point, he has beaten the fraud allegations. My goat. Overall, the practice match is a fun showcase of Free's overwhelming strength and IQ as a blader. Free is an interesting character because even though he goes out of his way to help VALT and Kiyama, the dude has some moments where he can be cruel as well, telling Kiyama that if he loses to Wakia again that he's off the team. I really can't figure out what is going on in this guy's head. After the practice match against Real Sunbat, Cisco returns wanting to join BC Seoul because he realized that Wakia is Beyblade Burst's version of Masamune from the Metal Saga. With Cisco joining the team, it starts a ripple effect in BC Seoul's social circle, as a longtime standing member Django quits the team after being relegated to the second team of BC Seoul, with members starting to feel the pressure, resulting in a toxic environment, mostly thanks to Stan being a jerk because bro is so salty that VALT has motion. Next, BC Seoul plays against Top Fan, a match where we finally get to see Free's true strength. He finally uses a launcher, not that it really matters all that much because his opponents have zero chance at victory. This is probably the best time to say it, but there are some really good cuts of animation in this season. The cut of Free's full power launch can be reused as many times as the animators want because it looks amazing. This moment is hype as well. The sound effect for when the Nothing Driver lands on the stadium is perfect, alongside the eerie music playing as Free one-shots his opponent. That is aura. A lot of this match is used to give us more knowledge about Free's situation at BC Seoul. He's like the Gojo Satoru on the team, overly relied on to clean up everyone's mess. Although in the final round against Kuza, Free trusts VALT to handle the job, which is pretty interesting considering what happens next with Free. Now, episode 10 is where this season really starts to get interesting. It is announced that Free took the offer from the New York Bulls and will be leaving BC Seoul. Free taking the offer isn't really surprising given the fact that BC Seoul has become a team over-reliant on Free, but what I didn't expect was for this series to actually go through with this decision. I thought that VALT would find a way to impress Free to the point where Free could understand that he didn't have to carry this burden of responsibility alone. Even when VALT finds Free in the forest and the stakes are set that this is an all or nothing match with the game ending as soon as one player scores a point, I thought that the match would be interrupted because there was no way VALT would win against Free this early on in the season, but Free leaving just felt insane to me. The tension this situation brought was great. I was like VALT in this situation, convincing myself that somehow this would work out. And this series does a great job of making you believe in that sliver of hope by having the first round of this match end in a tie. However, Free's overwhelming strength quickly crushes that hope in seconds. This was a great plot twist that left me stun-locked. Now at this point I was thinking that even with Free gone, VALT would be the one to quickly motivate the team and become the new pillar for BC Seoul. But the despair continues. BC Seoul goes through a nasty fall off period. It was like I was watching our Lord and Savior Bird grace us again with his presence. The team continues to lose match after match, which sets off a domino effect of members leaving the team, with Cisco and Ivan leaving. Now Ivan isn't some integral character to the plot, but I did like his reasoning for leaving. While the team is at its lowest point, characters are beginning to look deep inside themselves and understand what they want in life. So Ivan realizing he wants to become a trainer after witnessing VALT's growth was a cool, realistic outlook on people who join teams or pursue a career path in life, later finding out that their initial goals did not align with their current ones. Also, during this low period of BC Soul's career, we get deeper insight on Chris's thoughts, feeling the pressure to live up to her grandfather's legacy, holding to this belief that weakness is a sin. As a result, she neglected the mental health of the team and couldn't predict withdrawing from BC Soul. Then, to make matters worse, even after Ivan gives VALT words of encouragement, VALT fumbles the bag again. This was crazy. In typical shonen fashion, you would expect VALT to pull through at the end of the episode, but no, he gets off-screened by an NPC. This moment made me respect the series a lot. The writers were committed to making the inevitable comeback of BC Soul feel earned. Just because you receive some words of encouragement doesn't mean that success will magically enter your lap immediately. It is going to take a team effort accompanied by an unbreakable resolve to progress forward. So with Cisco returning to the team, BC Soul begins its comeback. But obviously there's going to be more drama that occurs. The next match is against the France team led by Dinah, and if BC Soul loses the match, they lose their chance of participating in the World League. So Dinah has a plot against him the second he returns. Poor guy. I like that Dinah is of the mentality that even though VALT and Kiyama are his friends, on the battlefield they are enemies, not holding back as a gesture of respect. Dinah is definitely one of the more underrated characters in the series. He then offers VALT and Kiyama to join his team. This conversation is overheard and an article is released pushing an untrue narrative, resulting in VALT and Kiyama being punished because it would be a conflict of interest to have VALT and Kiyama play in the match against the France team. Then, after learning about the article, the entire team begins to question VALT and Kiyama's loyalty to BC Soul. Stan annoyed the hell out of me during this episode. VALT has proven himself multiple times that he is committed to this team, but this idiot refuses to stop being a butthurt loser. Watching Stan is like reading comments made by agenda-filled Gojo fans online. Stan is easily the worst character in Beyblade Burst. Most of the drama surrounding the team comes from this guy. It's just annoying to witness.
Soft. Overrated. Pretty boy. A bitch.
Thankfully, BC Soul has individuals that aren't complete idiots. Sasha is conflicted about the entire situation and decides to test VALT in the only way she knows how, through battle. This results in a great moment between her and VALT, with letting VALT take her position in the upcoming match. Sasha was a real one for this, easily the coolest person on this team. She never caused any problems and was looking out for my boy VALT. Sasha tested VALT and concluded that he was better suited to be selected, increasing the team's chance of victory. Because to Sasha, the team's victory takes priority. That is the quality of a true team player. Shout out to Sasha, she's earned my respect. Another great moment that showcases how VALT has positively influenced the team. As for the France match, there are some cool moments of Dinah being a leader for the France team, but the main takeaway is seeing VALT winning through the strategy of removing the frame to increase Valkyrie's speed. Ultimately, there's not too much to talk about with this match, so let's move on. Now, I won't spend too much time talking about the match against England's Royal team as well, because aside from Cisco showing off his insane blader IQ, this section was pretty stupid. Gassam's entire motivation for crushing Cisco was dumb. Why would you battle with the bay your father gave you when it's old as hell and looks like it's going to break if you dropped it? Gassam hating Cisco makes no sense because his father's bay breaking is his own fault. So when the series tried to make me feel sympathetic for this man, it just didn't work. I was already taken out by the stupidity surrounding his backstory. But again, Cisco carries this section. Seeing Cisco use the rollers on Satan's lair to deflect Garuda's Temu version of a Starburst attack was pretty sick. So on the bright side, at least the BC Soul versus Royal match wasn't completely ass. Now I can finally talk about the section of the first half of the season I think most people are interested in hearing my thoughts on, the Red Eye arc. Shu has gone missing, so the original gang meets up to search for Shu. Through Wakia's research team's stalker abilities combined with the knowledge of a rumor, the gang takes a trip to Mexico. These guys are pretty lucky that they have a friend that's rich, can just hop on the plane flight with no issues, and then the group runs into Kuza because I guess the writers decided that this arc needed more comedic moments. So the place that they theorize Shu must be staying at is Snake Pit, a brutal underground training area that is stated to give birth to powerful bladers, leading into the introduction of Red Eye, the man who killed Shu. Well, metaphorically. Shu's disguise isn't even good, but this is anime, so suspension of disbelief, I guess. So I'm guessing Shu somehow convinced the owner of the New York Bulls to invest money in some weird training ground dungeon where people wear villain masks, all in an attempt to distance himself from VALT because Shu is a drama queen. When Red Eye said that Shu is dead because he was weak, I was like, dude, it's not that deep. It is pretty sad that Shu's obsession towards his promise with VALT has driven him to the point of faking his death in order to motivate his rivals to improve. Also, with Red Eye stating that Shu couldn't bring out Spriggan's true power, I think that Shu realized that he needed to destroy himself and be reborn to reach new heights. I am a huge Blue Lock fan, and this ideology of deconstructing yourself in order to change is a big theme in that series, so I'm liking this development a lot. Plus, seeing Shu work alongside an organization that is ruthless seems out of character for him, so I'm interested in his inner thoughts on why he went down this path. Also, how VALT's reaction to the reveal that Red Eye is Shu and how that will affect their relationship, because that is bound to happen at some point. So after Red Eye completely annihilates VALT, in order to face Red Eye again, the gang have to fight the dark version of their base. I'll be honest, I'm not going to really discuss these fights all that much, they feel like filler. So instead of talking about these fights, I'll take a moment to talk about the biggest fraud in Beyblade Burst. Everyone was telling me that Kiyama is hated by the writers and not to expect much from him moving forward. Why didn't people tell me about Wakia? Kiyama has been solid so far this season. Wakia, on the other hand, went from being a well-respected blader in season 1 to becoming a joke character. This boy is a fraud. I hate what they did to my son. In my last video, I talked about how much I enjoyed the episode where Wakia's fear of heights is used to kickstart his character growth. In Beyblade Burst God, I guess the writers realized that they didn't know what to do with the character, so they decided to relegate Wakia to being solely a gag character. Having to witness Wakia lose his mind over his fear of heights so that the series can artificially force a 2 versus 1 battle against Red Eye to prop him up as an antagonist was pretty whack, I'll be honest. That took me out of the series tone this episode was going for. Wakia has to get over his fear of height at some point, because right now, Wakia's stat sheet is looking atrocious, so I need this boy to win at something. Now, I haven't talked about this yet in the video, but VALT's whole journey this season is about understanding his new bae, God Valkyrie, which is pretty much just a plot device to artificially nerf VALT during the start of the season. Because why didn't Zoro explain to VALT the new abilities of the bae he built? I always found that to be weird. Regardless, by episode 19, VALT has better understanding of the reboot driver, meaning that some progression is finally happening. So after all the filler, we finally get to see VALT versus Red Eye round 2. Well, it's VALT, Kuza, and Dinah versus Red Eye, and Red Eye is on a Sukuna timing as he completely washes the 3 of them all at once, ending the mini arc with the gang clinging on to some hope that Shu is alive. There also seems to be something cooking with Boa. I'm guessing he's Snake Pit's main experiment that will end up becoming a member of the New York Bulls. After the Red Eye mini arc, the story shifts back to the never-ending drama surrounding BC Soul, with Kuza joining the team since he wants to hang out with VALT more. Chris is ecstatic over the fact that BC Soul now has a roster of 4 competent bladers to help the team win the World League. This was needed because even with VALT and Cisco at the front lines, BC Soul was still lacking a competent 3rd member. Sorry Kiyama, but you just aren't built for this era. You've been relegated to the substitute member. Now, the conclusion of the first half is where I think this video will be the most controversial, because overall I do not think that episode 20 is a good episode. The plotline with Stan doesn't work because he is an asshole who has negatively impacted the team multiple times throughout the season. I always found it to be jarring that during the struggle era of BC Soul after Free left, the majority of the blame was going towards VALT when the team lost, even though 90% of the team members are fodder. Stan purposely tells VALT the wrong location of where the team will be assembling for practice matches, making VALT look unprofessional. With Free gone, VALT is the best member on BC Soul. He is the best chance for the team's dreams to be achieved. So with the knowledge that Stan has been a member of BC Soul for a long time and deeply cares about the success of the team, the fact that he constantly sabotages VALT is hypocritical. Now, I know I'm just explaining a character flaw, and there is nothing inherently wrong with a character being flawed, but Stan never apologizes. Trad criticizes Chris for not looking out for Stan's feelings, which to a certain degree Trad has a point, but this whole plot line is flawed because, again, Stan is a jerk, so I can't even sympathize for him. Hell, I would tell Chris to repeat what she said to Stan's face. Stan doesn't even attempt to atone for his past actions. The dude just leaves the team. I get what the writers are trying to do here, but it just doesn't work. It makes the entire episode feel extremely jarring. A similar plotline occurs with Trad in this episode. Thankfully, this plotline makes sense. Trad just simply did not agree with the direction the team was headed and respectfully stepped down. Trad never does anything wrong throughout this season to harm BC Soul, so I have no issues with this development. The storyline of the first half of the season is about a team that has lost its former glory due to the stagnation and inability to adapt. So again, Trad's character going in this direction direction makes perfect sense. Thus, with the old heads out of the picture, BC Soul has been reborn with Kuza, Cisco, and VALT leading the charge. Rest in peace, Kiyama. You had a magnificent run. Now, at the time of me recording this video, I've watched up to episode 22, so I should have the next video covering this season released in about a week or two. I'm really invested in seeing how this season unfolds because it seems impossible right now for BC Soul to beat the New York Bulls. The only way I can see BC Soul winning is if VALT has the most ludicrous Zenkai buff I've seen in my life. The New York Bulls have Free and Shu on their side. BC Soul is just cooked, but this series always manages to surprise me, so I'll just shut up and keep watching. Overall, the first half of Beyblade Burst God has been pretty good. With Stan gone, I am hoping that there won't be any more head scratcher moments moving forward. So if it's only up from here, I can see Beyblade Burst God being better than Metal Masters. Howie VALT, show me a generational performance and my life is yours. If you stuck around till the end of the video, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And if you want to talk to me about anime related topics, join my Discord server. Also consider becoming a channel member, another way to support me and I support you back with shoutouts at the end of the video, early access to new videos, custom emotes, and members only videos depending on which level of membership you decide to choose. And if you're someone that enjoys anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when I hit 10K, you can brag about being a day one. I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.